Tyler forced me to have an abortion 3 times inside our home. On the third one, while I was bleeding in the back seat of the car coming back from Houston, with my stepdaughter Madison sleeping in the front seat knowing nothing, I decided, either I get out of here, or I die. But for you to understand how I got to that moment, I need to go back 5 years, when I was only 22 years old and thought I had found the perfect man in Round Rock, Texas. It was my cousin Jake who introduced me to Tyler. It was a friend's birthday party, a typical Texas barbecue, the kind with country music, cold beer, and everyone in boots. I had gone alone with my son Ethan, who was 3 years old at the time. Ethan's father and I had broken up a while back, and I was focused on finishing my nursing degree and raising my son. I wasn't looking for anyone. Tyler was Jake's cousin, 32 years old, 10 years older than me, and he seemed exactly like the kind of Texas man every mother dreams of for her daughter. Polite, hardworking, easy smile, that way of looking you in the eyes when he talks, that makes you feel like the most important person in the world. That night, we talked for hours. He told me he was divorced, that he had an 8-year-old daughter named Madison, that he worked in construction and had his own small business. He talked about how hard it was being a single father, how he wanted to give his daughter the best, how he valued family above everything. I remember looking at him holding a Bud Light, leaning against the wooden deck of that house, and thinking, this guy is different. He didn't try to impress me with exaggerated stories. He didn't keep looking at other women at the party. He seemed genuinely interested in me, in my life, in my dreams of becoming a nurse. The next day, he called me. He wanted to take me country dancing at a club, said he'd made plans with people from the party and everyone was already in the car waiting for me. I said I didn't want to go, that I was tired, that I had an early class the next day. I turned off my cell phone and went to take a shower. 15 minutes later, my mom knocked on the bathroom door. Natalie, there's a guy at the door asking for you. My heart raced. I got out of the shower in my bathrobe, wet, and there was Tyler at the front door of my mom's house, smiling as if it were the most normal thing in the world to show up at someone's house unannounced. You turned off your phone, so I came to get you personally, he said, as if it were romantic. I already said you were coming. Everyone's waiting in the car. I looked back and saw a black SUV with 4 people inside, music playing, all looking at me. My mom was beside me, confused. I felt something strange in my stomach, a feeling I couldn't identify at that moment. Today I know it was my instinct screaming, run, but in that moment, I only felt pressure. Pressure not to disappoint, not to seem weird, not to ruin everyone's night. Okay, I said. Give me 10 minutes. My mom frowned but said nothing. I went to that club against my will. And you know what's worse? I forced myself to look like I was having fun. Tyler was attentive all night, brought me drinks, danced with me, introduced me to his friends. At the end of the night, when he dropped me off at home at 3 a.m, he held my hand and said, "You're special, Natalie. I felt it from the first moment I saw you." And then he kissed me. It was a good kiss, the kind you feel all the way to your toes. But when I went inside and lay in bed, that strange feeling in my stomach came back. Why had he shown up at my house unannounced? Why hadn't he accepted my no? In the following weeks, Tyler was everywhere. He'd show up at my college to bring me lunch. He'd send flowers to my work as a waitress at IHOP. He'd call 3-4 times a day just to hear my voice. At first, I thought it was too intense. I even told him, "Tyler, you need to slow down. We barely know each other." He looked at me with those brown eyes full of hurt and said, "Sorry, Natalie. It's just that I've never met anyone like you. My ex-wife cheated on me, you know. Left me heartbroken. When I meet someone truly special, I get scared of losing them." And there I was, consoling him, feeling guilty for being cold. 15 days after we met, Tyler asked me to be his girlfriend for the first time. We were at his birthday party, at his house in Cedar Park, a suburb of Austin. He had prepared a barbecue, invited his whole family. I brought my cousin, even brought a cake I made myself. In the middle of the party, he pulled me to the backyard, where he had hung fairy lights in the trees, and knelt in front of me. "Natalie Brooks, will you be my girlfriend?" I froze. Everyone was watching from the house windows. His daughter Madison was smiling. I barely knew this man. I need to think about it," I said. I saw the disappointment on his face, but he quickly disguised it and stood up smiling. A week later, he asked again. This time we were alone, drinking beer in his backyard after the kids fell asleep. So, Natalie, have you thought about it? I opened the can of Coors Light, took a long sip, and spoke without thinking. Okay, let's try. But right after I added, but I don't love you yet, okay? I like you, but I don't love you. He laughed, pulled me into a tight hug, and whispered in my ear, You will love me. I'll make you love me. At the time, it seemed cute. Today, those words echo in my head like a curse. 4 months later, we were living together. 4 months. It seems crazy now, but at the time it made sense. My mom's rent had gone up. Tyler had a big 3-bedroom house. Madison needed a female figure. Ethan and Madison were getting along. It makes sense financially, he argued. And besides, I want to wake up next to you every day. He painted such a beautiful picture of what it would be like. A real family, the kids growing up together, us building something solid. I moved in on a Tuesday in October. I remember the smell of fresh paint, because he had painted Ethan's room blue. I remember Madison helping me unpack boxes, calling me Nat with that Texas accent. I remember Tyler hugging me in the middle of the empty living room and saying, Welcome home, baby. The first few weeks were good. Really good. Tyler would wake up early, make coffee, leave a cute note on the fridge before going to work. He'd come back with flowers, with small gifts for the kids, with that wide smile that lit up the house. We'd cook together, watch movies cuddled on the couch, make plans to travel to South Padre Island in the summer. I started thinking, maybe I'm learning to really love him. But then, 4 months after we moved in together, something happened that should have made me grab Ethan and run out of that house. It was a Friday night. Tyler had gone out with his construction buddies to drink after work. He came home after midnight, drunk, smelling of Budweiser and cigarettes. I was awake waiting because he hadn't answered my calls and I was worried. Where were you? I asked when he came in. With the guys, he answered, irritated. Why didn't you answer the phone? I insisted. Because I didn't want to, he said, throwing his keys on the table. Why are you interrogating me? You're my woman, not my mother. The word woman came out of his mouth like possession, not affection. I felt that strange feeling in my stomach again, only this time stronger. I was just worried, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. Tyler turned to me, and for the first time I saw something dark in his eyes, something that wasn't Tyler. Worried? He laughed sarcastically. Or were you suspicious? Were you thinking I was doing what your mom did to your dad? Were you thinking I'm like those bum guys you dated before? Each word was a knife. I had never told him any of this. How did he know about my mom's affair? How did he know about my exes? Had he investigated my life? Tyler, I couldn't finish the sentence. He crossed the room in 2 steps and pushed me against the wall. It wasn't a violent push, but it was a push. Don't question me, he whispered, his face inches from mine. Understood? I stayed frozen against that wall, feeling my heart explode in my chest, for at least a minute after he let go of my arm and went to the bedroom. My legs were shaking so much I had to sit on the living room floor. I started crying, but without making noise, because the kids were sleeping upstairs. It was the first time Tyler put his hands on me. It should have been the last. It should have been the moment when I grabbed my son and left that house. But it wasn't. Because the next day, Tyler woke up, brought me coffee in bed, knelt beside the bed with tears in his eyes and said, Baby, forgive me. I don't know what came over me. I drank too much. I was stressed about work. I'll never touch you like that again. I swear to God. I swear on Madison. And like an idiot, I believed him. I believed because I wanted to believe. Because I had just moved in there. Because the kids were happy. Because I thought that had been an isolated incident, a bad night, a misunderstanding. I didn't know that night was just the first chapter of a horror book that would still have many pages ahead. After that night against the wall, Tyler went back to being the perfect man. For 3 whole weeks he was attentive, caring, present, too much so. He started calling me during my break at IHOP, not once, but 5, 6 times. I just wanted to hear your voice, baby, he'd say. When I was at college, he'd text every hour. What are you doing now? Who are you sitting with? Send me a picture so I can see you. At first, I thought it was cute. I thought it was attention, care, love. I didn't realize it was control. I didn't realize he was building a prison around me, brick by brick, message by message. One night, I was in class, and my phone vibrated 15 times in a row. 15. I looked discreetly under the desk. All messages from Tyler. Why aren't you responding? Natalie, I know you have your phone. Are you ignoring me? Answer now. My heart started racing. The professor was in the middle of an explanation about pharmacology. I couldn't leave, but the messages kept coming, one after another, increasingly urgent. If you don't answer in 5 minutes, I'm coming to the college to get you. I ran out of the classroom, called him from the hallway. Tyler, I'm in class. You know I'm in class. He was silent on the other end. That heavy, loaded silence. It took you 17 minutes to respond to me, Natalie. 17 minutes. He had counted. I was in class, Tyler. You know I can't be on my phone during class. My voice was shaking. Why was my voice shaking? Why was I justifying myself for studying? You can answer a quick message, he said coldly. It takes 5 seconds, unless you don't want to answer. Unless you're doing something you don't want me to know about. And there it was again. The veiled accusation. The poison disguised as concern. I'm not doing anything wrong, I said, too loud. 2 students passed by me in the hallway and looked. Then why are you yelling? Tyler asked too calmly. Innocent people don't yell, Natalie. I closed my eyes, rested my head against the cold hallway wall. I'm coming home after class, okay? We'll talk there. I hung up before he could respond. When I got home that night, Tyler was sitting on the couch with a beer in his hand, watching Fox News. He didn't look at me when I came in. Hi, I said, hesitant. Silence. Tyler? Nothing. He was giving me the silent treatment. I was 22 years old and didn't understand that this was emotional manipulation. I just knew I felt terrible, guilty, anxious. Baby, sorry about earlier. I should have responded faster. I went to him, sat next to him on the couch, put my hand on his knee. He moved my hand away. You made me worry, he said, still not looking at me. I was thinking something had happened. I was thinking you were with another guy. My stomach turned. Tyler, I would never. My ex cheated on me. He cut me off, finally looking at me. His eyes were red. Was he crying? She cheated on me with my best friend. In my own house. In my bed. Do you think I want to go through that again? And just like that, suddenly I was the villain of the story. I was insensitive for not responding to messages during class. I was cruel for not understanding his trauma. I spent the rest of that night apologizing, promising I would always respond, that he would never need to worry about me. And at the end of the night, after he accepted my apologies, after we made up, I was exhausted. Exhausted in a way I couldn't explain. It wasn't physical tiredness. It was like my soul was tired. But I pushed that feeling under the rug, along with all the other signs I was ignoring. The weeks turned into months, and Tyler started implementing rules in the house. He never called them rules. He called them agreements or couple arrangements. First rule, I had to let him know where I was going, with whom, and what time I'd be back. It's just so I don't worry, baby, he'd explain. Second rule, he needed to meet and approve my friendships. You're too innocent, Natalie. People take advantage of you. I just want to protect you. Third rule, the child support Ethan's father paid had to go into the joint account Tyler had opened for us. We're together now. The money is ours, not yours. Fourth rule, I couldn't go out at night without him. A committed woman doesn't go around partying. What will the neighbors think? Each rule seemed reasonable in isolation. Each rule had a justification that made sense on the surface. But together, they formed a cage. And I was inside it without realizing. My college friends stopped inviting me out because I always said no. Tyler doesn't like me going out at night, I'd explain. He worries. They'd exchange looks I pretended not to see. My family started asking why I didn't come to Sunday barbecues anymore. Tyler thinks we need time just for us. I'd lie. The truth was, Tyler had started talking badly about my family. Your brother is jealous of me because I managed to build my own business. Your mom doesn't like me because I'm divorced. Your uncles only care about you when they need something. He planted seeds of doubt in my head, and I let those seeds grow. One day my best friend Sarah came to visit me. It had been months since I'd seen her. We had been inseparable in high school, but after I moved into Tyler's house, our contact had practically disappeared. She showed up unannounced on a Saturday afternoon, knocked on the door with that wide smile of hers. "Natalie, man, I missed you." She hugged me tight, and I felt a lump in my throat. I didn't realize how isolated I was until I had someone from my past in front of me. I invited her in. We made iced tea, sat in the kitchen. She was telling me about her college, about a guy she was seeing, and I was laughing for the first time in weeks. And then Tyler arrived. He came in through the garage door, sweaty from work, construction boots dirty. He saw Sarah in the kitchen and stopped. "Hi," he said, without smiling. "Tyler, this is Sarah, my best friend from high school," I said, excited. "Sarah, this is Tyler." Sarah extended her hand. Tyler looked at her hand for a second too long before shaking it briefly. "Nice to meet you." He turned to me. "Natalie, can I talk to you for a minute?" It wasn't a request. It was an order in disguise. "Be right back, Sarah," I said, standing up. I followed Tyler to the bedroom. He closed the door. "Who is this girl?" he asked, low. "I told you, it's my friend Sarah. We studied. Did you let me know she was coming?" I blinked. "No, she showed up as a surprise, but..." "So you didn't let me know." He crossed his arms. "Natalie, didn't we agree that you always let me know when we have visitors?" "Tyler, she's my best friend. I haven't seen her in months." My voice was rising. I was frustrated. Why was he making this a problem? "Exactly," he said. "You haven't seen her in months, and suddenly she shows up here out of nowhere? You don't think that's strange? She didn't call first, didn't text. What kind of friend does that?" He was turning the situation around. He was making it seem like Sarah was the problem, not him. She just wanted to surprise me," I said weakly. "Or, she wanted to catch you alone to talk bad about me," Tyler retorted. "Those single friends don't like seeing their friend happy in a serious relationship. They feel jealous." I shook my head. "Sarah's not like that." "Do you know her?" Tyler asked. "You said it yourself. You haven't seen each other in months. People change, Natalie. I'm just trying to protect you." I went back to the kitchen with a knot in my stomach. Sarah was on her phone, uncomfortable. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Everything," I lied. "Sorry, it's just that Tyler had a long day and..." "I'm heading out," Sarah interrupted me, standing up. She saw something in my face, something I was trying to hide. "Natalie," she said softly, holding my arm. "Are you okay?" "Really?" I forced a smile. "I'm great. Why are you asking?" She hesitated. "You seem different. You look tired, and you never answer my messages anymore." "I'm just busy with college and the kids," I said too quickly. "But we'll set something up soon, okay?" I knew I wouldn't. She knew I wouldn't. We hugged at the door, and when she left, I felt like I had closed the door to more than just a visit. I had closed the door to my freedom. That night, after the kids fell asleep, Tyler came to me on the couch. He was calm now, different. He sat next to me, put his arm around me. "Baby, I know you were upset earlier," he said softly, "and I hate when we fight. But you need to understand that I do this because I love you. I just want us to have a peaceful home, without outside interference. It's you and me against the world, remember?" He kissed my head. "I just need to know you trust me, that you choose me above anyone else." And as always, I gave in. "I trust you," I said. "I choose you." He smiled, satisfied. Good girl," as if I were a dog being trained. But I didn't realize that night. I only realized much later, when it was too late, when I had already lost my friends, already distanced myself from my family, already handed over my money, my freedom, my identity. Tyler was building a version of me that served him, and I was letting him. I was helping, because I thought that was love. I thought sacrifice was love. I thought disappearing for someone was love. A few months later, Tyler installed security cameras. "It's to protect the house," he explained while screwing a camera above the front door. "Crime is increasing in the neighborhood." He installed one at the front door, one at the back door, one in the backyard, one in the garage, all connected to his phone. "Now I can see if everything's okay even when I'm at work," he said, proud, showing me the app on his iPhone. 4 different angles of our house. Live streaming, 24/7 recording. Amazing technology, right? I agreed, without fully understanding what that meant. Without understanding that now, Every time I left or entered the house, he knew. Every time the mailman delivered a package, he saw. Every time I sat in the backyard to get some air, he was watching. The first time I realized the true purpose of the cameras was on a Tuesday in March. I had gone out to pick up Ethan from school, had stopped at Walmart to buy milk and eggs, and when I got home, my phone rang. Tyler. "Hi, baby," I answered. "Why did you take 25 minutes to get back from school?" he asked. "No. Hi. No. How are you?" Straight to the point. I stopped at Walmart," I said, confused. "Why didn't you tell me you were going to Walmart?" His voice was tense. "Tyler, it was just a quick stop. I was going to tell you when you got home. I saw you getting out of the car. You were wearing that white blouse I don't like." My blood froze. He was watching me through the cameras. He had been watching on his phone, waiting for me to arrive, timing how long I took. "Tyler, I just went to buy milk." "This isn't about the milk, Natalie," he exploded. "It's about you not respecting me. It's about you doing whatever you want without caring what I think." I hung up the phone with my hand shaking. I went inside, put away the groceries, sat at the kitchen table and cried. Ethan was watching cartoons in the living room. I was alone with the backyard camera pointed at the kitchen window. I was alone, but I wasn't. Tyler was always watching, always knowing, always controlling. One night Tyler came home with a case of Bud Light. "Brought this for you, baby," he said, smiling. But that same night, when I grabbed my third can, Tyler said from the living room, "Wow, you're already on your third." I stopped with the can in the air. "So what? Just thought you'd drink more slowly. 3 beers is a lot for a woman your size." "Tyler, I weigh 140 pounds. 3 beers is nothing." "Okay." He raised his hands, fake innocent. "I just worry about you. Alcoholism is genetic, and your dad had a drinking problem, so..." He left the sentence hanging. Let the poison spread. And it worked. I put the third beer back in the fridge without opening it. From that day on, Tyler started counting my beers. Literally counting. And then Tyler started controlling the money. Ethan's child support. $400 a month. He insisted it be deposited in the joint account. It's better to organize household expenses, baby. Made sense. Except I never saw that money back. When I needed to buy tampons, I had to ask Tyler, "Baby, I need $20 for Target." He'd roll his eyes. "Again? Didn't you buy tampons last week?" "Tyler, I menstruate every month. I need tampons." "Okay, but $20. What expensive tampons are you using?" It was humiliating. Asking for money for basic items. Having to justify each purchase. One day, I was at the Target checkout with a box of Tampax and Tyler called me. "What are you buying?" How did he know I was buying something? "Tampons," I said, low. The cashier avoided looking at me. "How much?" $15. You said you needed 20. "I know, I'm going to buy some snacks for Ethan too." Silence. "Buy just the tampons. Ethan doesn't need snacks. There's food at home." He hung up. I stood there, with the box of Tampax in my hand, feeling my cheeks burn. The cashier scanned the tampons, avoiding my eyes. $15.32. I paid, left the snacks, walked out of that store feeling something die inside me. Something small but important. My dignity, maybe. When I got home, Tyler was sitting on the couch, as always. "You took a while," he commented, without taking his eyes off the TV. I didn't respond. I went straight to the bathroom, locked the door, sat on the cold floor, and let the tears fall silently. On the other side of the door, I could hear Tyler laughing at something on TV, Ethan asking for juice, Madison doing homework. Life went on normally for everyone, except for me, because I was starting to realize I had made a terrible mistake. And the worst part was, I didn't know how to undo that mistake. I was trapped, and the cage was getting smaller and smaller. 6 months after we moved in together, Tyler proposed. It was on a Sunday afternoon, in his backyard, with Madison and Ethan playing in the inflatable pool. He knelt on the grass, opened a little box with a small diamond ring and said, "Natalie Brooks, will you be my wife?" My heart should have jumped with joy, but the first thing I felt was panic. Pure, cold panic that rose from my stomach to my throat. I looked at that man kneeling in front of me, and for a fraction of a second, I saw clearly who he was. I saw the control, the manipulation, the cameras, the counted money, the numbered beers. I saw the prison he had built around me. But then Madison screamed from the pool, "Say yes, Nat, say yes!" And Ethan started jumping, excited, not really understanding what was happening. And Tyler was looking at me with those brown eyes full of expectation. And I thought, if I say no, what happens? Where do I go? How do I get out of here? So I said yes. We got married 3 months later, in a small ceremony at a chapel in Cedar Park. My mom was there, my brothers, some of Tyler's work friends. No one in my family seemed truly happy. My mom held my hand before I entered the chapel and whispered, "Are you sure about this, baby?" I lied. "I am, Mom." She didn't insist, but I saw the worry in her eyes. Tyler looked handsome at the altar, in a navy blue suit, smiling. When the pastor asked, "Do you take this man?" I wanted to scream, "No," but my mouth said, "I do." We kissed. Everyone applauded. And when we walked out of that chapel, I was officially Mrs. Natalie Mitchell. I had even lost my last name. The honeymoon was in South Padre Island, only 3 days because Tyler couldn't leave work for too long. It was strange. Tyler was different there, more relaxed, more affectionate. For 3 days, he was the man I met at that barbecue a year ago. We walked on the beach holding hands, ate seafood, made love without me feeling it was an obligation. I even thought, maybe marriage will change him. Maybe now that I'm officially his, he'll relax a bit. How stupid I was. Because the moment we got back home, the moment he walked through that door, he went back to being the real Tyler. Worse, actually. Because now I had a ring on my finger. Now I was legally his. A week after the honeymoon, I found out I was pregnant. I took the test in the IHOP bathroom during my shift, with my hand shaking so much I almost dropped the test in the toilet. 2 pink lines. Pregnant. I was 23 years old, had a 4-year-old son, a 9-year-old stepdaughter, a controlling husband, and now a baby on the way. I sat on the toilet lid in that tiny bathroom that smelled of disinfectant and cried, not with joy, with despair, because I knew, deep in my soul, that baby was one more chain tying me to Tyler. But when I told him that night, he cried with happiness. "A baby, Natalie, our baby." He hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. I've always wanted this. A real family. Now we're going to be a real family. And I pretended to be happy. I pretended because it was easier than admitting the truth. The pregnancy was difficult from the start. I had terrible nausea, vomited several times a day, lost weight instead of gaining in the first months. Tyler was attentive in a suffocating way. He wouldn't let me do anything. "You're pregnant. You need to rest." I had to drop out of college. "You can go back after the baby's born." Had to quit my job at IHOP. "You don't need to work. I take care of you." And so, without realizing, I lost my last connection to the outside world. No college, no work, no friends, no family nearby. It was just me, Tyler, the kids, and those damn cameras watching my every move. One day, in the 4th month of pregnancy, I woke up in the middle of the night feeling something strange. Tyler was touching my belly under my nightgown. It wasn't an affectionate touch. It was sexual. His hand was going down, going between my legs. I was still half asleep, confused. "Tyler." He didn't stop. "Shh, baby, go back to sleep." But I didn't want to. I was tired, nauseous, pregnant. "Tyler, no, I'm not in the mood." He continued. "You're my wife, Natalie. Wives don't deny their husbands." His voice was different, colder, harder. "Tyler, stop." But he didn't stop. He got on top of me, pulled my panties to the side, and penetrated me before I could react. I froze, completely froze. My brain couldn't process what was happening. My husband was raping me. It was rape, right? But he was my husband. Can wives be raped by husbands? I didn't know. So I just lay there, motionless, waiting for him to finish. When it was over, Tyler rolled to his side of the bed, kissed my cheek and said, "Good night, baby. I love you," and slept. Slept as if nothing had happened, as if he hadn't just violated me in my own bed. I stayed awake the rest of the night, staring at the ceiling, feeling something inside me break, something that would never be fixed again. The next day when I woke up, Tyler was making breakfast. Pancakes, bacon, eggs. He was whistling. "Good morning, beautiful," he said, cheerfully, giving me a kiss. "How did you sleep?" And I realized he really didn't see anything wrong with what he had done. In his head, that was normal. It was his right. I was his property. It happened again, and again, and again. I lost count of how many times I woke up with Tyler touching me, penetrating me, using my body while I slept. Sometimes I'd pretend to keep sleeping because it was easier than confronting. Other times I'd try to complain, and he'd say the same thing. "You're my wife. That's what wives do for their husbands. Do you want me to look for this on the street?" And that phrase always worked. Always planted fear, because I was pregnant, ugly, swollen. Who else would want me? If Tyler left me, who would pay the bills? How would I take care of 2 kids and a baby alone? So I convinced myself, this is normal. Marriage is like this. I'm exaggerating. But my body knew the truth. My body started dreading sleep. In the 7th month of pregnancy, something happened that changed everything. Madison's mom, Tyler's ex-wife, called me. It had been months since she'd been in touch. Tyler always spoke badly of her. "She's crazy, Natalie. Bipolar. Drug addict." That's why I took Madison from her. But when she called, her voice didn't sound crazy. It sounded tired, desperate. "Natalie, it's Jessica, Madison's mom." My heart raced. Tyler had forbidden me to talk to her. "Hi," I said, hesitant. "I know Tyler doesn't want us to talk," she began, "but I need to warn you about something. For my daughter's sake. For your sake." I stayed silent. "Tyler, he's not who you think he is. He did to me the same things he's doing to you. The cameras, the money, the control, everything." My breathing stopped. "I don't know what you're talking about." I lied, automatic. It was my defense. Deny. Always deny. "Natalie, I know you're scared. I know because I've been where you are. But you need to get out, before it's too late." Her voice broke. I tried to leave so many times. He always pulled me back, until the day I finally managed. But the price I paid? She started crying. "I lost my daughter. He painted me as crazy, made me lose custody, and now I can barely see Madison. Please, Natalie, please, don't let him do this to you too." I wanted to say something. Wanted to say she was wrong, that Tyler loved me, that it was different with me. But the words wouldn't come out, because deep down, I knew she was telling the truth. I have to go," was all I could say. "Natalie, wait." I hung up. I sat on the bed, holding the phone, with my heart beating so hard I could hear it in my ears. The cameras, the money, the control. He had done the same thing to her. How many other women before me? How many other Natalies had he destroyed? I looked at my 7-month belly, at the ring on my finger, at that bedroom that didn't feel like mine. And for the first time I thought clearly, I need to get out of here. But how? I had no money, no car in my name, no job, no friends. My family lived 30 minutes away, but it felt like an entire world. And I was 7 months pregnant. Where would I go? How would I survive? And Ethan? And the baby that was coming? Tyler was right. I was incapable. I was weak. I couldn't do anything alone. These thoughts circled in my head like a broken record. I was 23 years old, and already completely broken. Completely convinced of my own incompetence. That's what abuse does to you. It erases you little by little, until you forget who you were before it. 2 months after that call, I gave birth to Harper, a beautiful, healthy baby girl with blue eyes like mine. When the nurse put her in my arms, I cried. I cried because I loved her immediately, and I cried because I knew I had brought her into this nightmare. Tyler was by my side in the delivery room, filming everything, smiling proudly. "My daughter," he said. "My family." Possessive even over a 5-minute-old baby. That night, alone in the hospital room while Harper slept in the bassinet next to my bed, I made a silent promise to her. "I'm going to get you out of here. I don't know how. I don't know when, but I'm going to get you out of here. You won't grow up thinking this is love. I promise." But promises are easy to make at night, in a hospital room, when you're still medicated and exhausted. Keeping those promises is another story, because when I came home with Harper, reality hit me like a truck. I had a newborn baby who cried all night, a 5-year-old son who needed attention, a 10-year-old stepdaughter who was starting to hate me because I had stolen her father, and a husband who was becoming increasingly unstable. Tyler wouldn't let me leave the house. "You need to recover from childbirth, baby. I'll take care of the shopping, the bills, everything. You just stay here and take care of the baby." It sounded like care. It was prison. 3 weeks after Harper's birth, I had my first panic attack. It was in the morning, while I was breastfeeding. Out of nowhere, my heart started racing. My hands started shaking. I couldn't breathe. I thought I was having a heart attack. Thought I was going to die there, on the couch, with my baby in my lap. Tyler was at work. I was alone. I managed to put Harper in the bassinet and dragged myself to the phone. I called 911. Please, I think I'm having a heart attack. The ambulance arrived in 10 minutes. The paramedics checked my vital signs, did an EKG. Your heart is normal, Mrs. Mitchell, one of them said kindly. This was a panic attack. Are you under a lot of stress? I looked at him, looked at the cameras on the walls, looked at my life, and lied. No, I'm fine. It's just new mom exhaustion. When Tyler got home and found out the ambulance had come, he was furious. Not at me, but at the paramedics, at the hospital, at the system. They want to shove medication down your throat, he said. Want to turn you into a zombie. You don't need medication, Natalie. You just need to rest. But I knew I needed help. Real help. Therapy. Medication. A way out. Anything. I was drowning, and no one was seeing. Or worse, Tyler was seeing and didn't care. Because a broken woman is a controllable woman. And Tyler had always known that. Harper was 4 months old when I got pregnant again. 4 months. My body had barely recovered from the first birth. I was still breastfeeding, and there I was looking at another positive pregnancy test in the bathroom. This time, I didn't cry. I just went numb, staring at the 2 pink lines as if they belonged to someone else. As if it wasn't real. But it was real. And when I told Tyler, expecting him to be worried, to say it's too soon, he smiled. He smiled. God is blessing us, baby. Another baby. Our family is growing. He kissed my still flat belly, and all I could think was, I can't handle this. I can't handle another baby. I can't handle anything anymore. That night after the kids fell asleep, Tyler sat with me on the couch. He was serious. Different. Natalie, we need to talk. My stomach tightened. About what? About this baby. He paused. We can't afford it right now. Harper's still too young. You're still breastfeeding. Ethan needs attention. And financially, the company's going through a tough time. I blinked, confused. What are you saying? Tyler held my hand. I'm saying maybe it's not the right time for this baby. Maybe we should consider other options. It took a few seconds for my brain to process what he was suggesting. You want me to have an abortion? The word came out of my mouth like poison. I don't want to force you into anything, he said too calmly. But think about it. You're already overwhelmed. You're having panic attacks. You can barely take care of the kids we already have. Another baby right now could break you completely, Natalie. And I don't want to see you break. He painted it as if it were concern, as if he were thinking of my well-being. But I knew the truth. He didn't want another baby, because another baby meant less attention for him, less control, more expenses. I don't know, Tyler. I need to think. There's not much time to think, he said. How far along are you? 6 weeks? 7? If we're going to do something, it has to be soon. The coldness in his voice gave me chills. We? I repeated. Tyler, it's my body. He squeezed my hand. Too hard. It's our marriage, Natalie. Our decisions are made together. Remember? I spent 3 days thinking. 3 days without sleeping, without eating properly, breastfeeding Harper on autopilot while my mind spun in circles. I didn't want to have an abortion. But Tyler was right about one thing. I was at my limit. Another baby and I would break completely. Maybe he was right. Maybe it was better this way. On the 3rd day, Tyler came home with a pharmacy bag. I bought the pills, he said, casual, as if he were talking about aspirin. It's 2 doses. You take the first one today, the second tomorrow. It'll be like a heavy period. Nothing major. He put the bag on the kitchen table and went to shower. I stood staring at that bag for half an hour. Just staring. When Tyler came out of the shower, I was still standing in the kitchen. Did you take it? He asked. I shook my head. I can't, Tyler. I can't just swallow these pills and... Natalie. He came to me, held my shoulders, looked me in the eyes. Do you trust me? I didn't answer. I asked, do you trust me? His voice was harder. Yes, I whispered, lying. Then you're going to take these pills. I'm going to help you. We're going to get through this together. And then we'll forget and move on. He opened the bag, took the first pill out of the pack, filled a glass of water. Open your mouth. I shook my head. Tyler, I don't... Open. Your mouth. It wasn't a request. I opened. He put the pill on my tongue, held the glass to my mouth, made me swallow. I gagged, coughed, but the pill went down. There, he said, satisfied. That wasn't so hard, was it? He made me lie on the couch, covered my legs with a blanket. You're going to stay here and rest. Don't get up for anything. I'll take care of the kids today. And then he left the room, leaving me there alone with the knowledge of what I had just done, what he had made me do. I put my hand on my still flat belly, where a 7-week-old baby was beginning to form. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm sorry. And I started crying silently, because the kids were nearby and I couldn't let them see me like this. The cramps started 3 hours later. Horrible cramps, worse than any period. I dragged myself to the bathroom, sat on the toilet, and felt my body expel that baby that would never be. The blood, the clots, the physical pain that was nothing compared to the emotional pain. I stayed in the bathroom for an hour, crying, bleeding, dying inside. Tyler knocked on the door once. You okay in there? Yeah, I lied. Need anything? No. He left. Didn't even try to come in. Didn't hug me. Didn't acknowledge what was happening. Because for him, that wasn't a baby. It was just an inconvenience he had solved. 2 months later, it happened again. Another positive test. This time I didn't even tell Tyler right away. I hid the test at the bottom of the bathroom cabinet and pretended nothing was happening. But my body gave me away. The nausea came back. Tyler noticed. You're pregnant again? He asked one morning, while I was throwing up in the bathroom. No point in lying. Yeah. He punched the wall. Left a hole in the drywall. How did you let this happen? How did I let it? As if the responsibility were only mine. Tyler, we have sex. That's how it happens. You should be on the pill, he yelled. I can't take the pill while I'm breastfeeding. You know that. But he didn't care about logic. He only cared that his control had failed again. This time, he didn't give me a choice. He just came home with the pills and made me take them. I cried, begged, tried to resist. But he was stronger. He held me down, shoved the pill in my mouth, covered my nose until I swallowed. It's for your own good, Natalie, he repeated like a mantra. You can't handle it. You can't do it. I'm saving you. And after that second time, something inside me died completely. It wasn't just the baby. It was any remnant of self-respect that still existed. I had become a shell, a doll, an object that Tyler used and discarded at his convenience. I started drinking. A lot. Every night, after the kids fell asleep, I'd grab the vodka bottle I hid in the laundry room and drink until I passed out. It was the only way not to feel, not to think, not to remember what I had lost, what I had become. Tyler noticed, of course. You're drinking too much, Natalie. You're becoming an alcoholic like your dad. But he didn't stop me, because a drunk woman is even easier to control than a sober woman. Drunk woman doesn't question when he touches her in the middle of the night. Drunk woman doesn't notice the lies, the manipulations, the abuse. So he let me drink, let me destroy myself, because it served his purposes. One night, I drank so much I passed out on the kitchen floor. I woke up in the middle of the night, lying on the cold floor, with dried vomit on the side of my face. Tyler was sleeping in the bedroom. The kids were sleeping upstairs. No one had come to get me. No one had checked if I was alive. I dragged myself to the bathroom, looked at myself in the mirror, and didn't recognize the woman looking back. Too thin, deep dark circles, pale skin, dead eyes. I was 24 years old and looked 40. I grabbed the sleeping pill bottle Tyler kept in the cabinet. Valium. There were at least 20 pills in there. It would be so easy. Swallow them all. Lie in the bathtub. Sleep. Never wake up. Never feel again. I opened the bottle. Put the pills in my hand. Counted. 23. Would it be enough? Probably. I filled a glass of water, sat on the edge of the bathtub, looked at the pills in my hand, and then I heard a sound. Harper crying in the bedroom. That sharp baby cry that pierces the silence of the early morning. I closed my eyes. She needed me. Ethan needed me. If I died, who would take care of them? Tyler? The man who raped me while I slept? The man who forced me to abort 2 babies? No, I couldn't leave them with him. I couldn't. I put the pills back in the bottle, splashed water on my face, and went to Harper's room. I picked her up, rocked her until she stopped crying, and there, at 3 a.m, I made another promise. I'm not going to die here. I'm going to leave. Somehow, I'm going to leave. But wanting to leave and being able to leave are completely different things. I had no money. I had checked the joint account. $123. Tyler controlled everything. I had no car. The Accord I drove was in his name. I had no family close enough to shelter me with 2 kids. I had no job, no recent resume, no references. Who would hire a 24-year-old mother without a completed degree, with 2 young children and a history of panic attacks? I was trapped. Completely, absolutely trapped. And Tyler knew it. He always knew. That's why he left me with nothing. No resources, no support, no hope. Because a woman without hope doesn't run. So I continued waking up every day, taking care of the kids, cleaning the house, preparing meals, being raped in the middle of the night, drinking until I passed out, day after day, week after week, month after month. It was like being dead, but still having to pretend to be alive, like drowning in slow motion, always with your head almost above water, but never really being able to breathe. And the worst part is that no one saw. To everyone outside, Tyler was the perfect husband. Hardworking, provider, present father. And I was the lucky wife. The one who had everything. Beautiful house, healthy kids, successful husband. No one saw the cameras. No one saw the bruises he was careful to make where no one could see. No one saw the emptiness in my eyes. Or if they saw, they pretended not to. Because it's easier to pretend everything's fine than to face the truth. I got pregnant for the 3rd time on a day I don't even really remember. My life had become a blur of vodka, dirty diapers, and sleepless nights. When I saw the positive test, I felt nothing. Not fear, not sadness, not anger, just emptiness. I knew what was going to happen. I knew the script by heart. Tyler would say we couldn't afford it, would buy the pills, would force me to swallow them, and I would let him, because I was no longer a person. I was a ghost living in a body that didn't belong to me. But this time, something was different. This time, Tyler didn't buy pills. This time, he decided to solve the problem another way. It was a Friday night. He came home late, had been drinking with his work friends. I was lying on the couch watching something on TV, Harper sleeping on my chest. Tyler came in, saw the scene, and something darkened in his face. "Put her in the crib," he said. It wasn't a request. I got up slowly, went upstairs, put Harper in the crib. When I came back, Tyler was waiting for me in the living room. "You're pregnant again." It wasn't a question. "Yeah," I said, too tired to lie. "How far along?" 5 weeks, I think." He laughed. A laugh without humor, without joy. 5 weeks. "And when were you going to tell me?" "I was going to tell you this week." "Liar." He came closer. I could smell the beer on his breath. "You were going to hide it until you couldn't hide it anymore, just like last time." "Tyler, I didn't finish the sentence." He pushed me against the wall, his hand on my neck. Not squeezing, just holding. A threat. "You think I'm an idiot, Natalie? You think I don't know when you're lying?" I couldn't speak. "I told you," he continued, his voice low and dangerous, "that we weren't going to have more kids. I told you that you needed to be careful, and you disobeyed me. Tyler, I didn't get pregnant alone." His hand tightened. I started having trouble breathing. "Don't blame me," he hissed. "This is your fault. Your body. Your responsibility." He let me go. I fell to the floor, coughing, gasping for air. And then, for the first time, Tyler said the words I'll never forget. "You're going to fix this. Today. Now." He dragged me to the bedroom. I was dizzy, disoriented, trying to understand what was happening. He threw me on the bed, locked the door. "Tyler, what are you doing?" He didn't answer. Just opened the nightstand drawer, took something out. When he turned around, I saw a wire hanger. My blood froze. "No," I whispered. "Tyler, no. Please." But he wasn't listening. He got on the bed, started pulling down my pajama pants. I fought. For the first time in months, I really fought. I kicked, scratched, screamed. "Tyler, no! Tyler, stop!" But he was stronger. He was always stronger. He managed to get my pants off, force my legs open. And then I felt it. The pain. a pain I didn't even know was possible to feel. I screamed so loud I woke the kids. Ethan knocked on the door. "Mommy? Mommy, are you okay?" "Go back to your room!" Tyler yelled. "Now!" I heard my son's little footsteps moving away, scared, and I kept screaming, until Tyler put his hand over my mouth. "Shut up," he growled. "You're going to wake the neighbors." But he stopped. Not because he felt remorse, not because he heard my screams, but because I was bleeding too much blood that stained the sheet, the mattress, his hand. He dropped the hanger, got off me. "Shit," he said. Shit. He was scared, not of me, but of the consequences. If I died, there would be an investigation, questions. So he grabbed a towel, shoved it between my legs. "Hold this. I'm taking you to the hospital." The trip to the hospital was a blur. I remember being in the front seat of the car, the towel soaked with blood, the pain pulsing in waves. Tyler driving too fast, talking too fast. "You're going to say you fell. Understand? You slipped in the bathroom and fell. Nothing about a hanger. Nothing about a fight. You fell." I said nothing, just looked out the window, watching the city lights pass, thinking, I'm going to die. And the scariest part is that a part of me wanted it to end, wanted peace. But the other part, the mother part, thought about Ethan and Harper at home, alone with Madison, who was only 10 years old. So I held the towel and tried not to die. At the hospital, they took me straight to the emergency room. A nurse took off my clothes, saw the blood, saw other things that weren't consistent with a fall. She looked me in the eyes, and I saw that she knew. "What happened, honey?" she asked gently. Tyler was outside. It was just me and her. For the first time in years, it was just me and another woman who understood. "I fell," I said, automatic. She held my hand. "Are you sure? Because the injuries you have, they don't look like they're from a fall." Tears started falling. I wanted to talk, wanted to scream the truth. But there were cameras at home. Tyler would know if I said anything. And then what would happen to the kids? "I fell," I repeated. The nurse squeezed my hand, defeated. "Okay, honey. Okay." They admitted me. I had to have a D&C because the abortion wasn't complete. I lost a lot of blood, needed a transfusion. I stayed 3 days in the hospital. 3 days where Tyler was the perfect husband, brought flowers, stayed by my side, held my hand in front of the doctors, cried when the doctor said the baby hadn't survived the fall. It was our third child, he sobbed. Oscar-worthy performance, and everyone believed it. Why wouldn't they? Tyler was charming, polite, concerned. I was the one who was always tired, always pale, always falling. Of course it was an accident. Of course. When I went back home, the kids hugged me. Ethan asked, "Mommy, why were you screaming that night?" I said it was because I had hurt myself. He believed it because kids believe their mothers, even when the mothers are lying to protect them. After that night, something changed in me. It wasn't immediate. It wasn't a movie-type revelation. It was gradual, like slowly waking up from a very long nightmare. I started seeing Tyler for what he really was. Not an abusive husband, not a man with problems, but a monster, a predator. Someone who had chosen me, isolated me, broken me on purpose, and who would do the same thing to the next one if I didn't stop him. I started paying attention to small things. How he lied easily. How he manipulated situations. How he was always the victim in his narrative. I started remembering Jessica's words, the ex-wife. She had tried to warn me, and I didn't listen. 2 weeks after I got back from the hospital, I got a call. It was from the morgue. Jessica had died. Suicide, they said. She had taken an overdose of medication. Left a letter. When I hung up the phone, my hands were shaking. Tyler was beside me. "Who was it?" "Jessica died," I said, my voice strange even to my own ears. Tyler didn't seem surprised. Didn't seem sad. "Oh," was all he said. I knew it would happen at some point. She was always unstable. He went back to watching TV as if nothing had happened. As if his daughter's mother hadn't just died. And there, in that moment, I knew. He had done this. Maybe not literally, but he had destroyed that woman until she couldn't take it anymore. Just like he was doing to me. We went to the funeral. Madison cried the whole time. Tyler consoled her with empty words. "Your mom's in a better place now." But I saw Jessica's sister looking at me, staring at me. After the funeral, she came up to me. "You're the new wife?" "I am," I said. "Run," she whispered, "before it's too late, before you become my sister." And she left. Those words echoed in my head for days. Run. As if it were that simple. As if I could just grab the kids and leave. But I had nowhere to go. No way. Not yet. But for the first time I started planning. Started thinking about possibilities. A week after the funeral, I was organizing Madison's things when I found it. An old notebook, hidden at the bottom of a toy box. Jessica's diary. My breathing stopped. I knew I shouldn't read it. But I needed to. Needed to know if I was going crazy, or if all of this was real. I sat on Madison's bedroom floor and read. And what I read destroyed me and saved me at the same time. Page after page of horror. The same things he did to me. The cameras. The financial control. The sexual abuse. The forced abortions. Everything. Exactly everything. And at the end, on the last page, she wrote, "If something happens to me, it was his fault. Tyler Mitchell killed me slowly, and no one will ever believe me." I closed the diary with my hands shaking. She was right. No one had believed her, but I believed now. I hid the diary at the bottom of my closet. That night, after everyone fell asleep, I grabbed my phone, the phone Tyler monitored, but that I had learned to use in private mode, and researched. Shelters for women victims of domestic violence, support lines, free lawyers. I read stories of other women who had left. Read statistics. Read about how abusers operate, how they manipulate, how they destroy. And for the first time, I put a name to what I was living. Abuse, domestic violence, marital rape, reproductive coercion, false imprisonment. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't exaggerating. I was being abused, systematically, intentionally, and he was never going to stop. Unless I stopped him. The next day, I waited for Tyler to leave for work. I picked up the phone. My fingers were shaking so much I had to dial 3 times before I could. But finally, the call connected. Domestic violence support line. How can I help? The woman's voice on the other end was kind, patient. My voice failed. "I need help. Are you safe right now?" "I am." "He's at work." "Okay, breathe. You're safe, and we're going to help you." And for the first time in 4 years, I cried tears that weren't from despair. They were from something I had forgotten existed. Hope. The woman on the support line was named Patricia. She told me I wasn't alone, that she had heard stories like mine hundreds of times, and that leaving was possible. "But you need to plan," she warned. "Men like your husband are most dangerous when they realize they're losing control. The most dangerous time for a woman in an abusive situation is when she decides to leave." She gave me instructions. Gather documents little by little. The kids' birth certificates, social security cards, IDs. Save money, even if it's $5 a week. Have an escape plan, a place to go. And when you leave, she said, don't warn him, don't give a second chance, don't believe in promises, just grab the kids and go. I wrote everything down on a piece of paper I later hid inside a tampon. Tyler would never look there. I started slowly, very slowly. Every time Tyler gave me money for groceries, I'd buy cheaper brands and save the difference. $3 here, $5 there. In 2 months, I had $180 hidden inside a Tampax box under the bathroom sink. I made copies of documents when Tyler was sleeping, using his office printer, and kept everything in an envelope I hid at the bottom of the closet, inside an old purse I knew he'd never touch. I started noting dates and times of abuse in a coded calendar. Red asterisk meant rape. Blue asterisk meant physical aggression. Black asterisk meant threat. In 3 months, the calendar was full of marks, visual proof of the hell I was living. But planning was one thing. Executing was something completely different. Because Tyler was noticing something had changed. I had stopped crying when he touched me in the middle of the night. Had stopped begging when he forced me to do things. I just disconnected. I'd be there, body present, mind far away, and that irritated him. "Where are you?" he'd ask during. "Are you here or not?" I wouldn't answer. He'd shake my face. "I'm talking to you, Natalie." But I had learned that silence was power. Silence was control. He could use my body, but he couldn't access my mind anymore. And that made him furious. The aggressions got worse. He started pushing me more, holding me harder, leaving marks where before he'd been careful not to. One night, we had the worst fight yet. It was over something stupid. I had cooked chicken instead of beef for dinner, and Tyler wanted beef. "I work all day," he yelled. "And you can't even make the food I ask for?" "You didn't ask for anything specific," I said calmly. Too calmly, and that enraged him even more. He grabbed the plate and threw it at the wall. The noise scared the kids. Madison started crying. Ethan ran to his room. Harper in the high chair started screaming, and something in me broke. Not from despair, from anger. Pure burning anger that I had swallowed for 4 years. "Enough!" I yelled, louder than him. For the first time, louder than him. Tyler stopped, shocked. "What?" I said enough. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. "You're not going to yell in this house anymore. Not in front of the kids, not in front of me. It's over." He came at me. I saw it in his eyes. He was going to hit me. Really hit me this time, not just push or hold. He raised his hand. I didn't move, just looked at him, defiant. "Go ahead," I said. "Hit me. Hit me in front of your daughter. Let her see what kind of man you are." Madison was watching everything, eyes wide, scared. Tyler looked at his daughter, looked at me, lowered his hand. "You're crazy," he said. "Completely crazy." And he left the house, slamming the door so hard the frame shook. I stood there, heart beating out of control, realizing I had won. For the first time, I had won. And that changed everything. After that night, Tyler went 3 days without talking to me. Silent treatment. But this time, instead of despairing, I took advantage. I took advantage of every second of peace. I called my mom for the first time in months. "Mom," my voice broke on the phone. "Baby, is that you?" She sounded relieved and worried at the same time. "Are you okay? It's been so long. Mom, I need to tell you something." And I told her everything. The rapes, the forced abortions, the cameras, the control, everything. I cried so much I could barely speak. On the other side, my mom was crying too. "Why didn't you tell me before?" "Because I was ashamed. Because I thought it was my fault. Because he made me believe no one would believe me." "Natalie Marie Brooks," my mom said, using my full maiden name. "You listen to what I'm going to tell you. Come home. Now. Today. I don't care if it's the middle of the night. I don't care if you have to steal his car. You grab the kids and come. I'll come get you if I have to." But I couldn't. Not yet. Tyler had kept my documents in a safe. Only he knew the combination too. I needed those documents to be able to get new certificates, to be able to open a bank account, to be able to do anything. "I need a few more weeks, Mom, to organize everything. But I promise, I will. I'm going to leave." "A few weeks," she repeated. "Okay. But Natalie, if he hurts you again, if you feel you're in danger, you call 911. You understand? Don't wait. Don't think. Just call." I promised. And for the first time in years, I had someone on my side, someone who knew the truth. And that gave me strength I didn't know I still had. 3 weeks later, the fight happened that changed everything. It was on a Saturday morning. Ethan had spilled orange juice on the floor, a kid thing, a silly accident, but Tyler got furious. "Are you stupid?" he yelled at my son. "You're 6 years old and you can't hold a glass." Ethan started crying. "Tyler, it was an accident," I said, grabbing paper towels. "Don't defend him," Tyler growled. "You're the one who makes him like this. Spoiled, incompetent." He went to Ethan and grabbed his arm. Hard. Too hard. Ethan screamed in pain, and something in me awakened. Mother instinct. Protection instinct. Nobody touches my son instinct. I ran, pushed Tyler away from Ethan with strength I didn't know I had. "Let go of him," Tyler stumbled, surprised. And then he got furious in a way I had never seen. "You pushed me?" he said, incredulous. "You pushed me?" He came at me. But this time, Madison was there. Madison, who was 11 years old and had seen everything. Madison, who had heard the fights, the screams, everything. And for the first time, she didn't stay silent. "Dad, stop!" she screamed. "Stop hurting her!" Tyler stopped, looked at his daughter. "Madison, go to your room." "No!" Madison was crying. "I hate you. You're just like you were with my mom. I remember everything." And then she said something that broke me and saved me at the same time. "My mom killed herself because of you. And Nat's going to do the same thing if she doesn't get out of here. Silence. Absolute silence. Tyler was white. I was frozen. Madison was shaking, and Ethan and Harper were crying in the background. Tyler looked at me, and for the first time, I saw something different in his eyes. Not anger, but fear. Fear that the truth had been said out loud. Fear that he could no longer deny. "I'm leaving," I said. My voice was strangely calm. "Today. Now. And I'm taking Ethan and Harper with me." "You're not going anywhere," Tyler said, but his voice was weak. "I am," I said. "And if you try to stop me, I'm calling the police. And I'm telling them everything. The rapes. The forced abortions. Everything." "No one will believe you," he tried, desperate. "I'm a respected businessman. You're a housewife who drinks too much. Who do you think they'll believe?" I smiled, a smile without joy. "I have Jessica's diary. I have dates. I have photos of the bruises. And I have your daughter as a witness." I looked at Madison. "Will you testify, Madison? If you have to?" She looked at her father, looked at me, and said, "I will." Tyler collapsed, literally collapsed, fell to his knees on the kitchen floor and started crying. "Natalie, no. Please. I love you. I can change. I'll do therapy. Anything. Just don't go." But I had heard that before. So many times. After every aggression. After every abuse. The empty promises. The crocodile tears. "No," I said. "It's over." I went upstairs, grabbed a sheet, threw it on the bedroom floor, and started putting clothes in it. My clothes, Ethan's clothes, Harper's clothes. I didn't have suitcases, so a sheet would do. Tyler came up behind me. "Natalie, wait. Let's talk." Calmly, rationally, but I didn't respond. Just kept packing. He tried to hold my arm. "Natalie, let go of me," I screamed. "Let go or I'll scream so loud all the neighbors will come." He let go, and then he said the phrase that confirmed everything I needed to know. "You have no right to anything, you know? This house is mine. The car is mine. You came in here with nothing. You'll leave with nothing." I stopped, looked at him. "I don't need anything of yours, Tyler. I just need my kids." And I kept packing. I called my mom. "Mom, come get me. Now." She didn't ask questions. "I'm on my way." 20 minutes later, I heard her car horn. I tied the sheet with the clothes, picked up Harper, held Ethan's hand, and went down the stairs. Tyler was sitting on the couch, head in his hands. When I passed by him, he looked at me. "If you walk out that door, don't come back. Ever." "I know," I said. "I don't want to come back." I opened the door. The Austin sun was shining outside. My mom was in the car, passenger door open, waiting. I took a step out, and then another, and another. Tyler didn't try to stop me. Maybe because Madison was there, watching. Maybe because he knew he had lost. Or maybe because, deep down, even he knew this couldn't continue. I put the kids in my mom's car, threw the sheet with the clothes in the trunk. My mom was crying. "You did it, baby. You did it." I wasn't crying. I was in shock. I had really done it. Had really left. I got in the car, put on my seatbelt, and when my mom started driving, I looked back. I saw the house getting smaller and smaller. I saw Tyler at the window watching, and then he disappeared from view. And for the first time in 4.5 years, I breathed deeply, completely, without weight in my chest, without fear, just freedom. I was 25 years old, and my life was finally starting again. The first few days at my mom's house were strange. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, panicked, thinking I was back in that house, that bed, with Tyler beside me. It would take a few seconds to realize. I was in my childhood bedroom, with Ethan sleeping next to me, and Harper in a borrowed crib from the neighbor. I was free, but freedom didn't feel like I imagined. It wasn't immediate joy, fireworks, a feeling of victory. It was confusion. It was fear. It was looking in the mirror and not recognizing the woman looking back. Who was Natalie Brooks now? Without Tyler defining every aspect of my life, who was I? My mom was incredible. She didn't pressure me, didn't ask too many questions, didn't judge. She was just there. She'd make breakfast, take care of the kids when I couldn't get out of bed, hug me when I'd cry out of nowhere in the middle of the day. My brothers would show up with food, with diapers, with offers of help. My godfather paid for a divorce lawyer. My mom's neighbors donated clothes, furniture, toys. In 2 weeks, I had a complete trousseau put together by people who barely knew me, but who understood that a woman fleeing abuse needed support, not judgment. And for the first time, I understood what community meant. I wasn't alone. I had never been alone. I had just been convinced of that. Tyler tried to pull me back, of course. He'd call 20, 30 times a day. He'd send messages. "Natalie, please, come back. I can't stand being without you. The kids need their father." When I didn't respond, the messages got darker. "You're going to regret this. You can't take care of 2 kids alone. You'll come crawling back to me." My mom wanted me to block the number, but the lawyer said not to block it. Save everything. Every message, every call. This is evidence of harassment. So I saved. And the messages became increasingly revealing. He incriminated himself without realizing, writing about that time we had to solve that situation, the forced abortions, about how couples have the right to do whatever they want in private, the rapes, all documented, all evidence. 3 weeks after leaving, I got my first job. Waitress again, at a Denny's near my mom's house. Night shift, 10 at night to 6 in the morning. It wasn't glamorous. My feet hurt, my head hurt. I'd come home smelling of frying grease and old coffee. But it was my money. Money that I earned. Money that no one could control, count, or take from me. The first paycheck I received, $640 after taxes. I sat on the bed and cried looking at that check. It was mine, completely mine. I could buy tampons without asking permission, could buy a beer without someone counting, could exist without justifying every cent. That check represented more than money. It represented dignity. A month after leaving, Tyler showed up at my mom's house. It was on a Sunday morning. I was in the kitchen having coffee when I heard the horn. I looked out the window and my blood froze. His Accord, parked in front. He got out of the car, with flowers in his hand. Flowers. As if flowers solved 4 years of abuse. My mom saw my face and understood immediately. "Stay here," she said. "I'll handle it." And she went out, closing the door behind her. I watched from the window. I saw Tyler trying to give her the flowers. I saw my mom refuse. I saw him try to argue, gesticulating, probably saying he just wanted to talk to me, that he had a right to see the kids. I saw my mom point to his car and say something that made Tyler turn red with rage. He threw the flowers on the ground, yelled something I didn't hear, and went back to the car. He peeled out, leaving tire marks on the street. My mom came back inside, calm. "What did you tell him?" I asked. She smiled, a smile I hadn't seen in years. Proud, fierce. "I told him if he showed up here again, I'd call the police, and that if he came near you or the kids, he'd have to deal with me first, and that he wouldn't want that." My mom was 5'2" and weighed 100 pounds, but in that moment she seemed giant. "Mom, nobody hurts my daughter," she said. Nobody. And I realized where I had gotten the strength to leave. It had come from her. It had always been there, waiting to be awakened. I was my mother's daughter, and if she was strong, I could be too. I filed for a restraining order 2 weeks later. The judge granted a temporary one immediately when he saw the evidence. The messages, Jessica's diary, Madison's testimony, who agreed to testify, the photos of the bruises that a smart nurse had taken at the hospital after the hangar accident. Tyler was notified. He couldn't come within 500 feet of me. Couldn't call me, text me, or contact me in any way. Violation would mean jail. I thought I'd feel safe. But the truth is, paper doesn't stop a violent man. Paper just warns that if he does something, there will be consequences. But consequences never stopped Tyler before. So I kept looking over my shoulder, kept checking locks 3 times before sleeping, kept jumping at any strange noise. PTSD, the therapist I started seeing called it, post-traumatic stress disorder. My body had left that house, but my mind was still trapped there. Therapy was hard. Very hard. The first session, I couldn't speak. Just cried. Cried for the entire 45 minutes while the therapist, a woman named Dr. Sandra, sat across from me and just was present. Not judging me, not rushing me, just witnessing my pain. In the second session, I managed to speak a little. In the third, I managed to tell about the rapes. In the fourth, about the abortions. In the fifth, about Jessica. With each session, it was like removing a layer of infected skin. It hurt terribly. But underneath, new skin was growing. Stronger skin. In the 10th session, Dr. Sandra closed her laptop at the end and looked at me with tears in her eyes. "Natalie," she said, "you don't need me anymore. You're ready." "Ready for what?" I asked. "To live," she said. "Really. Not just survive, but live." And she was right, because slowly, very slowly, I started recognizing myself again. Started remembering who Natalie was before Tyler, the girl who laughed loud, who had dreams of being a nurse, who liked country music and dancing, who was a good mother, good daughter, good friend. She was still there. Hurt, yes, with scars, for sure, but alive, and stronger for having survived. I enrolled in nursing school again, night classes, while my mom took care of the kids. It was hard balancing work, college, motherhood. There were nights I studied until 3 a.m, slept 2 hours and went straight to work. There were days I'd go into the Denny's bathroom and cry from exhaustion. But I didn't give up, because every class, every test, every step toward my degree was more proof to myself. I could do it. Tyler was wrong. I wasn't incapable. I wasn't weak. I was a survivor. 6 months after leaving, I rented my first apartment. Small, only 1 bedroom, in an old building in South Austin. Ethan and Harper shared the bedroom. I slept on the sofa bed in the living room. There was no air conditioning. The heater worked halfway, and there was a leak in the bathroom ceiling that the landlord promised to fix but never did. It was perfect, because it was mine. My name on the lease, my keys, my rules, no cameras, no one watching me, no fear. On the first day in the apartment, after putting the kids to bed, I sat on the empty living room floor, because I still didn't have furniture, and drank a beer, alone, in peace. And for the first time in years, the beer tasted like freedom, not escape. Tyler tried to fight for custody. Of course he did. He hired an expensive lawyer, built a narrative that I was unstable, an alcoholic, an inadequate mother. Told the judge I had abandoned the home, that I had taken the kids from him without justification, but the evidence was against him. Jessica's diary, the messages, Madison's testimony, who at the custody hearing looked at her father and said, "I don't want to live with you. You're scary. You always were." The judge granted me full custody. Tyler had supervised visitation rights only, 2 hours a week at a visitation center with supervisors present. He walked out of that courtroom red with rage. He looked at me with a hatred so pure I felt it physically. But I looked back, firm, without fear, because he no longer had power over me. He was just a man, a small, pathetic man who needed to destroy women to feel big. A year after leaving, something happened I didn't expect. I met someone. It wasn't in romantic circumstances. It was at Denny's. He was a regular customer, always ordered the same thing, pancakes with bacon and black coffee. One day, he left an absurd tip, $50 on a $12 bill. When I asked if it was a mistake, he said, "No, you look like you're fighting hard, and I admire that." He didn't ask for my number, didn't flirt, just saw my humanity. Weeks later, we talked for real. His name was Marcus. He was a history teacher, divorced, no kids. And when I told him my story, not everything, but enough, he didn't treat me like a victim. He treated me like a warrior. "You're amazing," he said. And the craziest part? I believed it, because I was. Today, 2 years after leaving Tyler, my life is unrecognizable. I graduated in nursing. I work at a hospital in Austin, day shift, decent salary, benefits. I got a bigger apartment, 2 bedrooms, with working air conditioning and everything. Ethan is 8 years old and doing well in school. Harper is 3 years old and is the happiest kid you've ever seen. We laugh together. We dance in the living room. We eat pizza for breakfast sometimes because we can. Marcus is still in my life. Slowly. No rush. Building something healthy. And me? I learned to be alone without feeling lonely. I learned that my value doesn't come from any man. I learned that being loved should never hurt. I learned that I'm stronger than anything they tried to make me believe I was. I still have nightmares. Still lock the door 3 times. Still look in the mirror some days and see that broken woman I was. But then I blink, and I see the woman I am now. And she's amazing. She's a survivor. She's a mother, student, nurse, daughter, friend. She's whole. Not perfectly whole. There are cracks. There are scars. but whole in the way that matters. Tyler didn't manage to destroy me. He tried. For 4.5 years he tried. But I'm still here. And him? He got married again. 6 months after our divorce, he already had another woman living with him. And I pray for her. I pray she's smarter than I was, that she gets out faster, that she doesn't lose years of her life in that prison. But I know she probably won't, because men like Tyler are predators. And predators always find new prey. Madison calls me sometimes. She lives with her paternal grandmother now, managed to get away from her father. She's 14, doing therapy, processing the trauma of growing up in that house. You saved my life, she told me once. How? I asked. You showed it's possible to leave. You proved he's not invincible, and I'll remember that forever. If I had done nothing else, being an example for that girl would have been worth everything, because cycles of abuse break when someone has the courage to say, enough. And then another person sees, and then another, and then another, until the silence is broken, until shame loses power, until survivors realize it wasn't your fault. If you're reading this, if you're living something similar, I want you to know, it's not your fault. You didn't do anything to deserve it. You're not crazy. You're not weak. You're not exaggerating. And you can leave. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But you can. I know because I did. And if I could, me who was 22 years old, 2 kids, no money, no college, no support at first, you can too. It won't be easy. It will be the hardest thing you've ever done. It will hurt. It will break you before it rebuilds you. But on the other side, there's life. Real life. Life where you laugh without fear, where you sleep in peace, where you wake up and don't feel a knot in your stomach, where you're you, complete, imperfect, wonderful you. There's help available. Support lines, shelters, therapists, lawyers who work pro bono. There's a community of women who went through what you're going through and who will hold you when you feel like you're falling. You're not alone, even if he's convinced you of that. Even if it seems like the whole world believes his lies, there are people who believe in you. I believe in you. And one day, you'll wake up, look in the mirror, and believe in yourself too. And that day will change everything. My life isn't perfect now. I still have bills to pay, still have difficult nights, still struggle with trauma. But it's my life, my struggle, my choices, my peace, and that's worth every scar I carry. So if you're reading this from the bathroom while he sleeps, if you're reading hidden at work, if you're reading with a broken heart thinking there's no way out, there is. The door is there. You just need to have the courage to turn the handle. And on the other side, I'll be waiting, with all the other women who made it, waiting to hug you, hold you, tell you, you did it. Welcome to freedom. Welcome to your life. Welcome back to you.